Hi everyone, we're going to do a quick video on how to put together the iPad bag or carrier or whatever you want to call it. This is it here. So it's a zippered one. It is lined. I do have kits, they are available, and you can message me through Facebook. It is made of faux leather. It has a faux leather handle. You'll be putting all this together. The kits come with everything in it to make it. It's nice and soft and nice and sturdy. So lovely, very pretty. So I'm going to get this camera and turn it down and get you to see what's in the kit, and colours and that obviously going to vary, but you'll have a QR code that'll bring you to this video and you'll be able to follow along with me. So in the kit you have, it's just one kit I'm going to do. It's grey, really nice faux leather. It's all cut for you. This is your straps. That is a binding. You have a zipper pull, 2 clips and 2 D-rings, and also the D-ring tag plus zipper, and of course your lining and your wadding, so, or batting, whatever you want to call it. So that is what comes in the kit, and we're going to get this ready and start sewing very soon. First thing we're going to do is we're going to put the handles together. So the handles are already cut for you, or one handle I should say, and you're going to clip them, and here my little pouch, pop some clips on the side, and we're going to sew a 1/2 inch seam across there and back stitch at either end, and then we are going to make this into the long handle that is on the actual bag. So once you've sewn that together, you then open up that seam, and I get one side. I'm only going to clip one side down, turning it over around about a 1/2 inch, oh sorry, 1/4 inch, and I'm going to go along the whole thing and clip this. So I'll do this off camera. It takes a few minutes, but to save you some time and watching me just, you know, water the garden type thing, we're going to put the camera on pause. Okay, so once you've got that whole one side done, and you go along the whole thing, you're going to then grab in the center. It's a little bit easier. Fold that over and then join them together like that. So fold that end over like that. So you do your 1/4 inch on that side, and then fold it half. Grab that clip, and then you'll go along the whole way. Sometimes I'll work up here, give it a bit of a gap, work that one, and then I can work easily in between. Very quick. I'll zoom that camera in a bit if I can. No, won't do it. So I just have to deal with what I can show you, and then that will be ready to stitch. Now, to stitch this next section, you are going to need a Teflon foot of some type, which is the little white foot. It just clips onto your machine, and it'll be relevant to the size of your machine. You can buy them from most sewing machine supply places, and that'll stop it from slipping around underneath your foot, your needle. As far as the needle is concerned, for me sewing, I am using a size 90, I'm pretty sure, and a size 80 or 90 will work it fine. You don't want too big a needle because you don't want too big a hole. With faux leather or any kind of vinyl, it will actually leave a hole if you unpick. So just be prepared that less unpicking is advised. So you've got that folded just like that, and we're going to take it to the machine. Okay, so we're ready to sew this. I'm going to sew down the folded side first, and then down the double-sided, open-sided first, and then the folded side. So top stitch is advisable. So I'm going to put that at around about 4.5. And sometimes when you first start, you need to just give her a little bit of a help along. And when you get up to this join, slow your machine right down and just take it steady, because it is going to have to go over quite a bump. Sometimes I have to lift the foot I did yesterday send my machine into shock, and then you can speed it back up to normal. That's probably faster than normal. That's better. You can also use a wash-away tape to hold these two pieces together instead of clips, if that's easier. And it'll also stop it from shifting. I've chosen not to. There is no right and wrong way. Okay, so that's the one side, just show you that. Okay, and I'm going to do the other side. I've got a different colour in the bobbin at the top, so I'm going to make sure I do it on the same side. So I've got the colour on one side and the white on the other. I'll come back and pause this. Okay, so in the kit, oh, sorry, I have done that. It's all ready, that handle. And I'm ready to put the clips on it. And in the kit you'll also get your two little strips to put your D-rings on as well, so we might as well do them. And you also get the D-rings, so just place that through on both these, fold it over, clip the end. We're going to sew fairly close to the edge of that. You can hear my dog snoring in the background. Okay, that's those. So sew them, and then we're going to figure out which side is right and wrong. I'm going to use the coloured side as the right side and the white side, which is stitching, as the wrong. You could have it the other way too, doesn't matter, either. I'm just going to keep it that way, so it's then it's going to be the same all the way around. So place that on the end, just like that. It'll be tight. Oops, wrong way. Okay, take it down about thumb, a bit more, and going to clip that down. So about an inch. And just clip it on one side just to hold it in place. I'll snip that little thread, and then I'll do the other side, making sure I have that in the right direction. Fold it over, and I'm going to clip that in place. So now I'm going to sew across here on both ends. Okay, and here, just to hold them in place so they don't wobble around and stuff. So I will move my needle over as far as I can. Just testing where my needle is. Might come over a fraction more. And back stitch. You'll need to back stitch that just to hold it in place. And trim off your little fluffy bits. Okay, trim off your bits. So that's those two done. And now we're going to do this one. A little bit slower on this one. It is thick and your machine has to go through a few layers. So slow your machine down and give it a shove through. Make sure you back stitch as well. Going back. And that one's sewn. Dog's still snoring. And I'm going to sew this one. Sorry, just bear with me a second. Just lift that up a little. That's better. Just make sure that metal of that ring is not underneath the needle, or you will smash your needle and be very upset with yourself. Trim that off and trim off your things. Now I just trim that down a little bit further back just so it's not too long. Just neaten it up, and that is that done. So you've got those done and you've got your D-rings done as well. So they're done, ready to go. So I'll pause and come back in a second. Okay, so now we have the bag front. Okay, front and back actually. We are going to put the zipper on. So there are many different ways people do this. There's no right and wrong. There's easy and hard. I'm going to do it the traditional way. You can use a zipper jig, whatever suits. But like I say, there's no right and wrong. So I'm going to, with the right sides together, so this is right side of this one, don't put it to the back. I'm leaving about an inch on either side. I've allowed that in the actual measurements. I'm just going to clip that to the bag front. I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to do that to the same to the other side, leaving about an inch on one end. Okay, just put a couple of clips along. We don't need our thing yet, but we're getting there. Then I want you to you're going to have to measure down. We need to put the D-rings in as well. So you're going to need to measure down one side 2.5 inches down. So for me to do that, I would need to use the right side of my machine, which I'm going to do. I'll get the zipper out of the way. is there. So I'm going to put the edge of that there, and that needs to be there. So make sure that your D-ring is quite in. It's only going to be probably an inch from the edge of that fabric. You really don't want it to be sticking out too far. It looks a bit silly when you do, so you need it to be sticking quite in. We will trim that off later. Then you do the same to the other side. So the easiest way to do that, I'll just move that zipper out of the way, so fold it in half and get your other D-ring, placing it inside facing out on top of the other. Line up your bag just like that. Pinch it with your finger. And you should be ready to go. Now we're going to just stitch along that edge, okay, just to hold it inside here. We don't want it in the seam. We want to make sure we're going to miss that metal bar in the seam, but we do want to make sure that we hold it in while we're playing with it. So I'm going to quickly do that. Okay, so we've got them sewn in. So they're just sitting there, sewn in, ready for the next step. Now we're going to get our bit of wadding and batting and just line up your lining first on the top of the zipper. Oops, the days, come over a bit. And then go to the other end. And the beauty of these is they've all been cut for you, so they should just sit on reasonably well. Then get your wadding, place that on top. Wadding might be a little bit bigger or whatever, but we're going to trim that off anywho. So, and then just clip that on here. We're just going to sew it in and then top stitch. So we just sew that in, clip it in, sorry. And like I say, there's excess there. We can turn that over and just grab our scissors, just trim off that excess a little bit. And then clip it in place. Okay, all right, so we've got them both clipped in, and what we're going to do now is sew our zipper in at the same time as our binding, cutting out a whole step. So rather than trying to do zipper first and then binding and wadding and all the rest of it, we're just going to miss that step and do it all together and save ourselves some time. So I'm going to just move the camera now and set it up and show you what I'm going to do. Okay, so got the machine set up. You can take the Teflon foot off now. You can put your zipper foot on. Makes it a bit easier to get closer to the zipper. So place that on. And just stitch along the edge of the 3 layers. Oh, 4 actually with the zipper. If the wadding sort of moves a bit, just move with it. And then we'll do the other side. Like my zipper moved a little, but we'll just go with the flow. Might have moved a little. See how bad it is? No, it's nothing to worry about. Okay, so once we've done that, we're going to then turn this out the right way. And top stitch those 3-4 layers together. So you'll need to pull them down so that you don't want that lining getting up in the teeth. Your teeth should be facing the right side of them, facing the right side of your bag. I just tend to clip down here and there just while I'm pushing it down. I don't particularly want to take an iron to vinyl, and you can on the lining side. We're trying to do this in a reasonable amount of time rather than, fluff it around. So clip them in place. I'll do both sides and then we'll top stitch. So I just clip that down like that so it holds it out of the way. And when I'm stitching from the top, so I'll make sure that I'm pulling that what's it called, faux leather out of the way at the same time. So I'll clip the other side and get to sewing. Okay, so we're going to stitch the top stitch of this one. I've got the Teflon foot back on. I've got it set at 4.5 inch stitch length. Because it is a top stitch. Okay, I've done both sides now. They're top stitched, front and back, or front and back. So we're almost there. We've done pretty much everything that we needed to do. And all we have to do now is make sure that the front and back, when we stretch that out, I'm hoping you can see this on camera, when I stretch that out, that front and back are the same length. There's no give, because this is where it gets a little bit testy. So I'm going to move the camera and show you what I'm going to do next. So it'll be 2 seconds. Okay, so we've got that set out, ready to go. We need our clips, and we're going to need to put our zipper on. And to do that, I tidy up the ends by putting them together just like that, making sure that the side of the bag is together. Trim off that zipper end so that they're both even. All the fluff has to come off because that gets in the way. And this can be quite overwhelming for some. I do have a zipper jig which helps you put them on, but I've done so many now I sort of seem to be able to get them on, and now I've said that I'll probably have trouble. So I'll get the zipper on. So you place the rounded side, and it's got a square side. So the rounded side I place on one side just halfway in, and then I get this side and I come in at around about 30-degree angle, and push it in and give it a bit of a shove on the end. Place 2 fingers, I'll just turn it sideways, 2 fingers like that, and she's on. Yeah, I know, I made it look easy, but that is how I do it, and I seem to get them on. Zipper jigs are only about $12 each, and they do make it really easy. But now we've got that on, we need to turn it wrong side out. This is where we get the, it's stiff because it's faux vinyl, leather, faux leather. So we get that out. All right, so okie dokie. Now, to get the bag to do this thing where the zipper is from the top, that distance, we need to get those D-ring parts, those sections, we need to put them under our thumb, and the top side of them, that one's coming in a little, I think it's just moving, and the top side of them you need to push down like that. So from that top edge, not the bottom because it makes it really long, so just the top, fold that over, and this is where you need 1,000 clips, and do the same with this. Roll it over, make sure that D-ring's straight. You don't want to sew it into the machine, and it should be nice and even. I'm going to pull my zip up as far as I can without it coming off. Now this is where you'll go, oh, it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit. All right, it does. You've got to play with it. It is really quite stiff, and you've got to manipulate and massage it to fit. It's just the kind of fabric it is. So you do massage and manipulate, and as you go, you put clips on. We won't cut any of this excess off yet. And you'll go down, and then we go, oh, it's got a crease in it. Oh, no, it won't. It'll be fine. Go down. And you'll get to there and you'll be like, oh, it's fine. It will push out. It's just that the bag faux leather is so thick that it doesn't have much give when you're trying to manipulate. Turn it around and you'll feel it all in here, and you'll be like, oh no, it's fine. So when I give it a bit of a manipulation or a little bit of exaggerated tugging, she sits nicely. Okay, so you'll just fold that up. So you can see everything, make sure you've got everything in there. And all of a sudden you'll go, oh, it does fit. Oh, look at that, it does. Don't worry about all this in here, that will settle out when we pull it right way out. Just make sure that zipper is a little bit open. We're going to stitch down here. Now make sure that you don't hit, know where that D-ring is, okay? So you're going to come in about half an inch, the maximum, at maximum. Go down here, double stitch, like back stitch over the top of your zipper ends, and right down to the end. So I'm going to do that now and set the camera up for you, and you'll be able to see how that's done. Okay, so I'm just going to swap that foot out. If you feel more comfortable with the walking foot, you can. Just going to use a standard foot, and I'm going to stitch that about half an inch. Now make sure you've put your stitch length back down to 2.5, and make sure that you don't hit that metal. Okay, so that's one side. Okay, and I'm going to do the same to the other side. Be right back. Once you've done both sides, just like that, you are then going to just double check your seam. Make sure you haven't missed anything. Make sure everything has been caught in that seam, which it has. And we're going to get our scissors and we're going to trim down this excess in here. Okay. And do both sides. Okay. Okie doke. The zipper's open. I'm not going to turn it yet. Okay, then grab your two little bits of lining that you've got there. They are going to be for the sides. So what you'll need to do is basically fold them in half and just finger press that along there, long ways. Do that to both. Okay, you've got them ready. Then you'll take the side of this and make sure you've got a little bit of turning, like up the top and bottom. So I've allowed for it in the cutting, so it should be fine. Clip that to the side. Just like that. Do it to the other side with the raw edge facing out and the fold facing towards you. And we're going to stitch that on. We'll pretty much stitch almost on the same line you just did. Close enough is going to be good enough. So we're going to stitch there and here, and then we'll turn it over. I'll get my machine ready. Okay, so I've sewn on one side and I'm going to sew on the other, about 1/4 of an inch. It will be noisy because it's going through a lot of layers. And just be mindful of that metal bar that's in there. Okay, once you've done that, you then turn this over. It's basically binding, and we're going to turn. I just trim those ends a little bit long. I do leave them a little bit longer for you in the kit, so you've got room to move. Just turn them over a little bit, cut it off a little bit, I should say. And just push that up, turn that over, tuck in that top little tail, that little corner bit there, and push it over to the other side, making sure it covers that stitch, because you're going to stitch again on this side in the seam. So you'll go along and do that to both sides. And I'll do that and come back and stitch the top. Okay, so I've done one side. I'm going to show you the other. I come down a little bit off the end because it is actually quite thick at the end. So I'll go a few stitches forward and back. And then I might have to give it a little bit of a shove to get it moving. It's just because it's so thick. And then stitch down that seam. Bit of a stitch in the ditch. Doesn't matter if you go over the ditch. No one's going to see it. It's on the inside. Now, if you wanted to put pockets in this, you would do that before you actually put onto the lining, before you put the bag together. That would be ideal if you wanted to put pockets. I didn't do it with pockets. Not too sure if people want pockets in something that's going to hold a computer. So if you're going to use it for something else, then you might. Oh, I've missed a bit there, so I'm going to go back in from this way. It's because I didn't cover my seam properly. Just going over from this side just so I make sure I got it. The other side worked a treat. There we go. All right, now we're together. All right, so now we've got that open. We can now turn it out the right way. Now this does get quite difficult. It's quite thick, because it is faux leather, and I'll try and not come off camera if I can. Just grab it, pull it through. You can use the end of a paintbrush, or I wouldn't use a chopstick because they're pointy. End of a paintbrush is good, or a pin, with the lid on it, or without the. So with the ink in, you can get it in there. You might break your pen. That's why a wooden stick is better. Do the best you can. Get those ends out. Oh, broke my pen. I did say I would break my pen. Try not to break your pen. Mental note to self. Do not break pen. All right. We got it. We got it. All right. Give it a little bit of a shove. If you use scissors, what's going to happen is you're going to go through your fabric that's in there. Just FYI. So just be wary of how you use scissors in this scenario. Like, I can hear it. But that is done. So, and like I say, you can embroider on it, whatever you like on these. They're absolutely easy, simple things to make. They're great if you wanted to use it for like just a bag, like a handbag. You could do that. Like I say, put some extra pockets in it. Oh, press some buttons on my computer, on my machine. But we have made it. Look at that. We've made it. There it is. All done. So there you go. All finished. And I didn't swear once. So pretty good. I'm happy with that. So that is the what's it called? An iPad bag. It will fit. I have done the measurements. I don't own an iPad. My kids do, but I know it fits because I've done the measurements online. I did the proverbial Google search, and it'll fit all 3 sizes. So have fun with that, and I look forward to seeing him on Friends of Michelle's Patchwork and on YouTube. Cheers.